Your team probably isn't slow. They're carrying too much. And when a team is carrying too much, the symptom usually looks like poor execution. Deadlines slip, meetings multiply, decisions take longer, people seem reactive. Priorities get revisited again and again. Work keeps moving, but the important work does not move with force. Most leaders see that and assume they have a speed problem. They think the team needs more urgency, more ownership, more accountability, more discipline, more effort. But in many organizations, the deeper problem is not effort, it is overload. Execution weakens when leaders keep adding priorities without removing anything. Every new initiative sounds reasonable in isolation. A new campaign, a new system, a new hire plan, a new client promise, a new internal project, a new meeting rhythm, a new strategic push. Each one may be valid, but the organization does not experience priorities one at a time. It experiences them all at once. That is where the drag begins. Overload is not just having a lot to do. Overload is when the volume of commitments exceeds the structure. That structure includes time, attention, decision capacity, leadership bandwidth, team energy, operational clarity, and recovery space. When those are already full, adding more does not increase performance. It fragments performance. The organization becomes busy, but less powerful. People are working, they are responding, they are attending meetings, they are sending updates, they are trying to keep up. But the system is no longer built for clean execution. It is built for constant interruption, and constant interruption creates the illusion that the team is slow. They are not slow, they are switching. They are not unfocused. They are being pulled. They are not avoiding ownership. They are operating inside a system where everything has been labeled important. And when everything is important, the team loses the ability to protect what is essential. This is one of the most common leadership errors in growing organizations. Leaders confuse addition with progress. They believe that adding more priorities means ambition. Sometimes it is, but often it means the company is becoming structurally incoherent. A strong organization does not just decide what to pursue, it decides what to remove. It decides what no longer deserves calendar space, what should no longer require leadership attention, what should stop appearing in meetings, what projects should pause, what expectations should be reset, what commitments should be renegotiated. That is not a lack of ambition. That is how ambition becomes executable, because performance is structural. A team can only execute at the level the structure allows. If the structure is overloaded, the people inside it will start to look worse than they are. Strong people begin producing inconsistent results. Capable managers become reactive. Senior leaders become bottlenecks. High performers become exhausted. Simple decisions take too many conversations. And eventually, the organization starts creating explanations. We need better accountability. We need more speed. Maybe. But before you make the people the problem, examine the load. Ask a harder question. Have we created a structure where focused execution is still possible? Because many teams are not underperforming, they are overcommitted. They are not confused because they lack intelligence. They are confused because the system keeps changing the definition of priority. They are not slow because they lack urgency. They are slow because they are dragging too many commitments through too little structure. There is a cost, to every priority you add. Even if the priority is good, it consumes attention. It creates meetings. It demands decisions. It introduces dependencies. It adds context switching. And if you do not remove something, the system absorbs the new load by weakening somewhere else. Quality drops, speed drops, communication drops, judgment drops, recovery drops, trust drops. The organization may not collapse, it may simply become heavier. That heaviness is structural drag. Structural drag is what happens when the system makes progress harder than it needs to be. The work still happens, but it requires more force. The meetings still happen, but they produce less clarity. The people still show up, but with less capacity. The strategy still exists, but it no longer governs behavior. That is why overload is dangerous. It doesn't always look dramatic. It often looks normal. A full calendar looks normal. A long priority list looks normal. Back-to-back meetings look normal. Too many active projects look normal. Teams constantly escalating decisions looks normal. But normal does not mean healthy, and busy does not mean durable. A durable performance system has limits, not because the organization lacks ambition, but because it understands that capacity must be protected. The question is not, can we add this? The better question is, what must be removed, paused, or simplified? That question changes leadership behavior. It forces trade-offs. It exposes false priorities. It protects attention. It reduces hidden load. It turns strategy into structure. Most teams do not need another motivational push. They need a cleaner operating field. They need fewer competing priorities, clearer decision rights, cleaner meeting architecture, better sequencing, more disciplined removal, more honest capacity planning. Because when the load is reduced, speed often returns. Not because people suddenly became better. This is not about doing less for the sake of doing less. It is about creating the conditions where the right work can move with force. That is durable performance. Even if the first team is more talented, talent cannot fully compensate for structural overload. At some point, the system wins. That is why leadership has to stop treating overload as a personality issue. The overloaded team does not need a speech. It needs leadership to make decisions about what matters now, what can wait, and what must stop. Here is a simple diagnostic. Look at your current company and ask, how many priorities are active right now? Not listed, active. How many require meetings? How many require decisions? How many require executive attention? How many depend on the same people? How many have unclear owners? How many were added without anything being removed? That last question matters most, because the overload usually did not appear all at once. It accumulated, one reasonable addition at a time, one exception, one urgent request, one new initiative, one recurring meeting. Eventually, the organization is carrying a load no one intentionally designed. That is the moment execution decays. And when execution decays, leaders often add even more structure on top. More check-ins, more dashboards, more reporting. But if you add management without reducing load, you may simply create a more organized form of overload. You are not solving the drag, you are documenting it. The higher leverage move is removal. Remove the stale priority. End the meeting. Pause the initiative. Narrow the quarter. Reduce the number of active fronts. Protect the work that actually moves the system. This is not about doing less for the sake of doing less. It is about creating the conditions where the right work can move with force. That is durable performance, not occasional intensity, not heroic recovery, not last-minute pressure. Durable performance is the result of a structure that can carry the load it has accepted. So, before you tell your team to move faster, look at what they are carrying. Before you ask for more urgency, look at what you have allowed to remain active. Before you call it an accountability issue, look at the system, because your team may not be slow. They may be overloaded. And overload is not solved by pressure. It is solved by structural decisions. If this is useful, subscribe for more doctrine. And if you want to examine your system, start with the drift diagnostic. Because execution does not weaken randomly, it weakens where the structure no longer supports the load.